Today, we're going to be talking about some worldly events that's going on and that's taking place in the world at this current moment. And also, we got the sun in Virgo. So, let's get into some of these energies. First, we're going to, jump right into some of these energies, jump right into some of these stargates and some of these portals so that y'all can get y'all spirit substantiated and so y'all can start to manifest circumstances and situations into y'all lives that can play out as fruitful outcomes and things of those natures. So when it comes to us going through the sun in Virgo, this is the ending portion of summer, getting prepared for the fall. So when it comes to us getting prepared for the fall, this is going to be the energy signatures that we're going to be having to take action on when it comes to us responding and looking at and acting on the emanation when it comes to that sun that's being produced through the atmosphere at that distance and position, when it comes to us tracking that water cycle and coming up with mathematics and calculating it from a speculative point of view and utilizing our operative left brain to be able to carve out and make buildings from us tracking the sun position in the way that water cycle moves in the sky. When it comes to us having access and going outside and tracking that sun on a micro scale, this takes us and puts us in a position where we're able to see things start to getting prepared and transition before we enter the fall. Once we enter the fall, that's when we start to actually see things fall down, and that's when we actually start to see if we have been planting and bearing the right fruits that can be able to help us sustain ourselves within the fall. So when it comes to the sun being in Virgo, the sun in Virgo got all of us acting out these energies of looking into the details and making sure that everything is perfected, making sure that everything is carved out in the right way, making sure that everything is accessible to us, so we don't have to worry about these things or the lack of these things once we get into the fall portion, because we're going to be needing that shelter, that firmament over our head. So Virgo is like when looking at the Virgo energy signature, it's like looking into the detail of all the cuts and all the cracks and all the crevices to see if we have a leak somewhere, to see if we have a spill somewhere. And if we do, then that's going to be us having to utilize our energy and start to work towards fixing that, work towards making that so that we don't have no leaks or no spills anywhere. So that's how Virgo likes to get down. So we all may be experiencing this on a micro scale in some way, shape, or form when it comes to just observing our environment and observing the things that we are catering to towards things that deals with our work, our health, our routines, our responsibilities. So we all may be in this energy, in this mode of playing cleanup. So cleaning up things, making sure that things are clean, making sure that things are kind of perfected and carved out, so we won't have to worry about these things the next day. So this deals with our responsibilities, and this is also going to be the energies that we're going to be having on task, and the things that we're going to be having a routine, and things that we're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, because it's going to be also activating our workhouse, things that we like to work on in whatever area of life you have. Virgo, that's going to be the area of life the sun is going to be illuminated and lighting it up and shining up for you to let you know that you need to start to work on something or worry about something a little bit more before that same thing end up slipping away, slipping through your hand. Rather it's a job, a responsibility, a relationship, a partnership, a networking, your business, the way that you conduct the business, your dreams, your imaginations, your passions. So the sun in Virgo is going to be kind of putting us and giving us this energy and this charge to start to take action towards these things and actually work on these things and work these things out, even if we have to worry about these things or overanalyze about these things, or making sure that we don't get too overly critical and start to nitpick with ourselves, because that can cause us into stressing about things that may not be even in our control at sometimes, because some things just may need to be letting go. Sometimes we may need to let things go in order to grow. So keep that in mind as well when it comes to understanding these Virgo energies and how Virgo is kind of trying to help all of us and be assistance to all of us, so we can be at service to the people, places, and things that's in our environment and that we're catering to, and the people, places, and things that's supporting us, so we can also be an asset to whatever we got going on and whatever we're trying to build for ourselves and others and things of those natures. But let's get into these energies when it comes to the current events and things that's going on in the world, and the psyops and things of those natures that's also taking place in the world when it comes to Uranus going retrograde back into Taurus. So with Uranus going retrograde back into Taurus, this is going to be bringing back past instabilities when it comes to the way that we've been going about money, security, stability, safety, shelter, and comfortability, and things of those natures. So we're going to be seeing people that's in control of these energies to kind of create narratives to steer society in a certain direction to get everybody emotionally aroused to act out a character or a discipline as below, utilizing the as above transits, tracking those things, making mathematics around those things, creating virtues and principles, creating characters, personifications, so individuals can act out these mannerisms, putting individuals in a specific space, in a specific frequency, to emanate and produce thoughts and feelings that condense and become your blood, your adrenaline, your actions, and things of those natures. And that also how we created the earth. That's also how we created things like the minerals, the geographical locations, the waters below, oceans, rivers, seas, things of those natures, from the mechanism of you becoming aware and having a mind, have your own individual space, your point of reference for the first time. So your solo space, because we're all sharing this existence. So we all got a piece of this existence, our own individual piece of this existence. That's your solo space that you utilize as a spirit to jump into and control the minds and the mentalities and the chakras that's floating through your space. So your mind mimics your spirit, and your body mimics your mind. So always keep that in mind. So whatever spiritual space that you're in, those are going to be the thoughts and feelings, the mentalities that you're producing from that spiritual space to kind of direct your actions in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. Once those things condense and implode and become your organs, and you come out of that water as a land creature, from sea creatures, from plants, and things of those natures, through the process of creation, mutation, and evolution. So always keep that in mind. That's how we got here. So we actually came here from nothing, thin air. We created ourselves coming from nothing, as within, so without. The first masculine was also the first feminine as well. So that's why they can kind of tie that to saying, when going back into their ancient texts like Gnostic texts and things of those natures, and say that the first man was a woman, because they're not saying that the first man was a woman. They're describing it as like a mechanism, what's going on. The first masculine was an accumulation of something. So once you first emanate something, once you first become aware of something, you externalize it, and that externalization is a substance. So you put yourself in a container, you trap yourself within the awareness or parameter, and once you trap yourself within that awareness and parameter, you add second comments to that awareness in that parameter. That becomes your first begotten sons and daughters, your thoughts and your feelings. And through the process of creation, mutation, and evolution, and doing this simultaneously for long periods of time, this becomes a substance, and the substance becomes something that gets heavier and becomes more lower into density. So you're lowering yourself into density, hopping into forms, being able to separate from these forms, rotating to the left, these things going to the right. So this creates like a what is it called, like a coiling system that goes around you being able to hop in and out of shapes and forms. Because keep in mind that your spirit is nothing. Your spirit always has the ability to separate and connect. So you're always going to have the ability to separate and connect from the forms that you created. Because keep in mind, once you create a mind, that's an awareness, and that awareness is something that you can build on, like a building block, when it comes to the virtues and principles that you're deriving out of that space. That becomes a representation of the spiritual space and the spiritual travels that you're going through when it comes to your level of consciousness and your spiritual root race and things of those natures. So right now, if you were in a human body, you wouldn't have fit the spiritual root race. So this is going to be the humans having to learn how to deal with their emotions and feelings, because we may get too lost into our emotions and feelings, and we're so this is why they're able to have so much control and make us emotionally aroused over things that they're controlling behind the scenes, when it comes to them making us and creating narratives and psyops when it comes to things that's going on in the world, like shootings, voting, politics, and things of those natures. They're able to create narratives and present a sentiment to make us emotionally aroused, to make us get out of our character, to get out of our nature, to get out of our comfort zone, to go to one of these spots in these positions in in the world and be there voting, protesting. And then that's when they can utilize us as a sacrifice to be able to fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy that they're doing behind closed doors. So keep that in mind, because that's really what's going on in these esoteric streets. So just understanding this mechanism and understanding that your first the first man was a woman, this taps us back into the science of understanding that your first externalization was also an internalization simultaneously, and you building on those, you building on that mechanism, you building on that awareness becomes something that becomes heavier in density through the period of, time, space, time, matter. So time, then that becomes something that actually matter. That becomes something that actually starts to formulate. And with all of us doing this next to each other, side by side, teamwork makes the dream work. This is what created the actual atmospheres in the heavens above, being able to condense that lighter substance to become something heavier, to become something more condensed, more physical, more hard, that we can have, that we can stand on, and things of those natures. So keep that in mind when it comes to you just going outside and observing these natures, because you are these natures. It's not like these things are something that's separate from you. No, you created these things. You are a piece of these things are a piece of you. You are these things. You are the creator of these three things. When it comes to the trees, the grass, the way that the wind is blowing, it gets that deep. It really gets that deep. The way that the wind is blowing, you being able to go outside and dance because you know how to move with the air in the atmosphere. So you created the atmosphere. So that was one of our first bodies that we created for ourselves. It was more atmospherical. It wasn't as much as low vibrational, where it's like we were able to jump into each other and share each other dreams. When it comes to that emanation, we was able to emanate and share each other visions and dreams, and be able to separate from that simultaneously and hop into a different dream. So we was basically dream walkers. We was basically like some type of that was our first bodies, our first creatures that we created before that became condensed and heavy and imploded into the actual seas that we came out of from parasite and mutated to animal and bug and plants, and now we got humans. So we're always, creating, we're always, producing, we're always evolving in some way, shape, or form. So right now, when it comes to this new age, and I just got hip on that. It's actually hold on, let me take this jacket off. I just hip that. I just got hip that it's actually the new age of Aries. Actually, it's actually the new age of Aries going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I will, get ratchet on y'all. Get ratchet real quick. You know what I'm saying? Hot. I don't expect to be that hot. Get ratchet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I get ratchet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hot. But yeah, would it been a new age of would it been a new age of Aries going on? These are going to be some of the energies that we're going to be experiencing. See, I thought it was the new age of Aquarius, so I was convinced that we was going through the new age of Aquarius this whole time. But then I just seen, if you hip to your yell and things of those natures, that we going through this new age of Aries. And I'm looking at my circumstances and my situations and things of those natures, how things is playing out in the world, and like the energies that I've been experiencing myself. And it kind of made a good point. It really made sense for real. Like, it really just clicked. Like, we are kind of been a little bit more individualistic. We are kind of, trying to take our power back, trying to fight against the government, trying to, things of those natures, going through some spiritual warfare, acting out some Aries energies in these times right now. Like, it kind of like everything's just clicked, because that's really what's going on in the world, going through this age of Aries. So, those are the type of energies that we got to, get hit with, that we got to get a grip on when it comes to you just being an individual in these due times, because that's important. And I've been talking about this the whole time, like how you got to be an individual, how you got to be more into your individuality and your independence, and making sure that you're not around individuals that try to take that away from you, that try to steer you in a different direction and making you flock with those same birds. You got to be the one that know how to stand alone and be able to stand your ground, even if you're not getting that validation or not from these other individuals. That are just you being an actual representation and a vessel that the universe may need a person like that to be able to do things by themselves, and not just follow the pack, follow the crowd, get hip to what everybody else is getting hip to when it comes to what's being presented online and things of those natures, when it comes to the way that relationships is being conducted, the way that business is being conducted, and things of those nature, because you know that's all out the window for real. If we just being honest, if we just being genuine, all that that's going on online right there, like especially when it comes to relationships in these new times, because relationships is like a hot topic, because you know we're going through this we got Venus is at home right now. So with Venus being at home, you know, relationships is like a hot topic right now. Everybody want to be in some form of relationships. Everybody want to be, you know, have somebody that can be able to feel that vulnerable connection with right now. But you got to make sure that you're around the right individuals, because you know what I'm saying. If you've been on your spiritual path for a good minute, and you've been kind of separated from all the distractions and all the delusions, and getting out of the loop systems, and you're not lost into the sauce like everybody else, then you are already in a space like, you know what, I'd rather just focus on my purpose, and I'd rather just be in a relationship with my purpose than an actual another person, because you don't know what you're going to get into. You don't know what you setting yourself up for, just trying to hop into a relationship nowadays. It's like rolling the dice. You don't know what you're going to get. So, you know, if you want to take that chance, if you want to, you know, put yourself in a circumstance or situation, all, you know, it's all possibilities. Just be aware of what's actually going on, and just be aware of what you're getting yourself into, and you know, take things with a grain of salt, especially if you're young right now. You know what I'm saying? If you're like my age, if you're like 23, if you're young right now, you don't want to be in a relationship like putting all of your eggs in one basket. Especially right now, you want to be focusing on yourself, working on yourself, developing, you know, self-growth. Shout out to Mar, self-growth. These are those natures, focusing on your individuality, putting yourself first right now. And you know, relationship, because relationships come and go. People come and go, to be honest. But you just want to make sure that you free right now, because you're young, you still youthful, you still got that youthful energy, you still got that youthful spirit. You want to make sure that you are prioritizing that. And you know, once you get older, once you got your shit together, once you got everything together, once you're able to be secure, once you're able to have that good, that pockety energy, then that's when you should start to consider, if I want to actually be in a relationship, and start to present yourself around the right individuals, people, places, and things that share those like-minded and those common interests. So y'all won't have to worry about that relationship, or you know, one side of the relationship, you know, leaning to the other side, because that other individual is still lost into the distractions of the world. So it's always a good thing to make sure that you're putting yourself in a good, stable position first, especially when you're young. You know what I'm saying? Because people gonna come and go, and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Believe me. Believe me, I'm not just talking just to talk, because I actually experienced this myself. So I got a little piece of grace, so I can be able to have this testimony and things of those nature. So I'm just you know, being a Pisces right now, you know what I'm saying, hopping into my Pisces, my Jupiterian energy and things of those natures. If you're a Jupiter sign, you already know where I'm coming from. Us Jupiterians, we look at the world differently. See, us Jupiterians, we kind of like the spiritual teachers, so we're able to like go through experiences and things of those natures, and be able to, you know, like extract that puzzle piece or that wisdom and knowledge from that experience, and be able to use it as a teaching or a lesson and things of those natures. So Jupiter signs got the power of the Jupiter signs got the gift of being able to, you know, go through experiences and being able to extract that and be the wise person to be able to help other individuals be able to create a horizon, so they won't get lost into the abyss and going down those trains of thoughts and lines of reasonings, and falling down and, you know, going through those similar circumstances and experiences in their life. But getting back into these energies and what's going on when it comes to, you know, Uranus being in Taurus. So Uranus and Taurus is going to be having all of us, you know, reevaluating our values, reevaluating these things, reevaluating what we have been planting seeds in to build our self-esteem, and things that deals with our gifts and our talents and things of those natures. So Uranus and Taurus is going to be making all of us reevaluate these energies and look at these energies for what they are. And if these things are healthy, if we're planting seeds into healthy things that can help us boost our self-esteem and give us that confidence to express ourselves, so we can start to plant right seeds that germinates and become fruitful. So once we go out into that esoteric garden and pluck from the trees from those gardens, we'll have a good juicy fruit that we can bite, that gives us this sense of fulfillment instead of this sense of dissatisfaction. So we got to make sure that we're planting the right seeds into the right areas, but first we got to make sure that we have the right mentality in making sure that we're in the right space as well. Because when understanding these energies, if you're not in the right space, if you're still in, you know, low vibrational spaces, being around low vibrational entities and people, places, and things in those spaces, then that's going to be what's going to be actually fashioning your mind to be able to think that way, to think like that, to think and produce and emanate thoughts and feelings that resonates with those state of beings and those states of awarenesses that those individuals are in, producing those thoughts and feelings that caters to that low vibrational. So you got to make sure that you vibrating on a higher altitude so that you can have a better attitude about your way of presenting yourself, because that's actually a science. That's actually a science, making sure that your vibration is higher than others, so your frequency, your altitude is going to be higher, so your attitude is going to be better. So if when you're around individuals that got that's vibrating on a low altitude, this means they attitude is obviously going to be negative and distasteful. And no matter if they do have a negative attitude because they're on that low altitude, with you being a spiritual pilot, you're gonna know how to fly above and go higher, actually go the distance and expand, so that they attitude won't bring down your altitude. Now y'all on the same playing field. Now you in the same playing field with demons and things of those natures. Now y'all just producing, fighting, clashing, competing, secret competition, things of those natures, because these individuals don't know how to utilize their spaceship to reach a different plateau in the esoteric realm and reach a different altitude, so that they can have a better attitude about themselves, and when it comes to them presenting themselves and expressing themselves in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension and things of those natures. So keep that in mind when it comes to you being a spiritual pilot, utilizing your spaceships and your mentalities to be able to fly throughout the astral realm, because keep in mind that you are shapeless and formless at the end of the day, and your spirit is just utilizing these shapes and forms to be able to get from point A to point B. So always keep that in mind when it comes to you utilizing this cloth, you utilizing this body, and you utilizing these organs and these mentalities and these brains like your bitches at the end of the day. So don't let these things direct you, and you end up being an inverted star, working for these things, trying to fulfill these things, trying to do things to please the flesh and sacrifice the spirit. That's you working in reverse. You should be letting your spirit be the one that's getting fulfilled, and the flesh deteriorate and come second. So the better that you can get a grip on this type of concept and this mechanism, then once you actually go through this process long enough of being able to expand and contract those types of mentalities and those awarenesses, then you're actually going to be able to expand into a broader arena once this physical vessel deteriorates and becomes composition with the earth. So that'll be you sacrificing this physical body for the land, for the earth, for terra firma, and you actually becoming an atmosphere, reaching a point where you're big enough to be aware of all of this and how to actually fashion those types of mentalities and be able to fashion those types of organs, where you come out of that water and you're able to create a new organ system that is similar to the clouds and things of those natures. So keep that in mind as well when it comes to understanding your mentalities and your chakras and things that deals with your astrology, your natal chart, your microcosm chart, and how that aligns with the macrocosm chart, because eventually you're going to be able to have full control. I ain't gonna say full control over these things, because you ain't gonna be able to have full control over nothing. You're just going to be able to comprehend these things at a level where you're going to be able to see how these things are in synchronicity with one another when it comes to the as above interacting with the as below, the heavens above interacting with the natures below, the mother natures, and how you created these things, how these things intertwine, and how you created these things. So this is you actually evolving from the human, because you're going to be able to train a human. You're going to be able to actually train and fashion a human at that point once you get to that level. So you're going to be an atmosphere. So you're going to be more in peace. You're not going to have to worry about things that affect you as much, because you're kind of sacrificing these lower animalistic natures so you can be able to be more in tune with your higher natures, so you can be able to be more in tune with your astral body. So that's gonna take you having to sacrifice some things, having to sacrifice people, places, and things, and go through this what's the word I'm looking for, go through the cycle of I want to say rejuvenation. But Pluto, that thing that Pluto be doing to us, when we go through Pluto, something. I ain't got the word right now, but I could try to take out to that space. Just go through that space of sacrificing these forms, so you can be able to hop into a greater form, and then you can be the greater form utilizing transformation and rebirth. Shout out to Mar. Go through that transformation and rebirth of these forms, so you can be able to utilize that greater form to create lesser forms, so that these lesser forms can be able to help the individuals and the spirits that's still hopping into those lesser forms. So you know how they say you're blessed, but you'll never be less, because there's always a greater being out there. So that'll be you actually going through the process of being able to take one of those vehicles of being that greater being that can help the lesser beings be able to evolve out of their low vibrational or animalistic natures, by them becoming aware of your footprints in the sand that you left behind. And this is why they got the concepts of angels, and angels and demons and things of those natures. So this is actually you becoming an angel. This is you becoming an actual 7. But that's a whole different life right there, because once you get on that frequency vibration, you becoming that 7 and separating from that 6, that attention, that starting point. Once you first became aware, that'll be you being able to have authority and control over that, and being able to jump into those spaceships and those frequency vibrations and things of those natures, so that you can be able to incarnate birth, life, and death on a more grand scale. So the emanations that you're producing, it's going to be like a big old atmospherical type of body, and the spirits there, it's actual spirits there. It's like actual spirits in that space, in that parameter. It's a lot of them too. So we get so limited into this small existence of life, because this is what we became aware of. So once you become aware of the spirits that's in that parameter, then you will be able to actually see how broad this awareness is, and how we're always adding on and making teamwork makes the dream work. So don't get too confused or get too lost into like this one, two, and third dimensional realm, and let these things kind of get the best of you, or make you feel like you're not capable, or bring you down, or make you depressed and things of those natures, because we're all going to be experiencing those energies. We all go through these cycles, we all go through these phases, and it's uphill battle every day. So you got to keep that in mind as well when it comes to just understanding the transitions and the phases of life. But this type of knowledge isn't taught in school. So individuals, like the common individual, like will come across a person like me speaking like this, and it'll be foreign to them. Like they'll be like, what is this cat talking about? What is this cat talking about? And we don't have individuals who actually know how to get to that starting point to actually be able to bring spirits, take spirits out that little lily pond and put them in a bigger lily pond, so they can be able to swim themselves, create spaceships and mentalities and pulses there themselves, so they can be able to hop into those types of forms and be able to evolve and create creation, mutation, and evolution. And this can be like a whole big old creation, mutation, evolution cycle where all the bugs and the animals go through this process, and next thing you know, this whole reality and existence itself will fade away just like a dream. It'll fade away just like a dream, like this, like a dream we had. You know what I'm saying? So that's how things is when it comes to the spirit, because the spirit ain't nothing. The spirit is your space, your perimeter, and you just got things floating through your space and your perimeter, a substance, an awareness, a halo that you created around yourself to play out like a cloth to protect you from feeling naked and feeling vulnerable, because you nothing. I always keep that in mind. But you know, getting back into these energies when it comes to, you know, Uranus being in Taurus, these are going to be the things that we're going to be reevaluating when it comes to the things that we've been planting seeds in to build our self-esteem and things of those natures. When it comes to things that deals with our gifts and our talents and our values, so you know, we got to make sure that we're actually going back to the drawing boards if we've been planting, you know, negative, nasty seeds that got, you know, that got ants and roaches and bugs on them, so we can start to pluck those seeds and throw those things away, so we can start to plant, you know, more better, more healthier, more prosperous seeds for ourselves, that once those seeds start to blossom and become fruitful in our esoteric garden, we can go to those trees in that esoteric space and pluck from those fruits and be able to, you know, bite those fruits, and those fruits give us a sense of fulfillment, esoterically speaking. So these are going to be the energies that we're going to be reevaluating. So whatever area of life that you have, you know, this transit going back into when it comes to Uranus being in Taurus, that's going to be the area of life that you're going to be reevaluating and that you're going to be trying to fulfill on a small basis when it comes to if you've been planting right seeds in that area of life, because you know this is also going to be dealing with changes. So we got to make sure that we're, you know, going through the process of actually changing and rebelling and opposing against the old and outdated ways that we was conducting that area of life. Say for instance, you got Uranus going back in retrograde in your third house. You may be going down the trains of thoughts and lines of reasonings of, you know, going back and visiting or starting back to, you know, interact with old friends, and you know, going back into old routines and patterns that dealt with your environment and friends and siblings and things of those natures. But if y'all was kind of like, if y'all went through like a circumstance or a scenario where things was kind of like shaky, like things was on shaky tables, then that may not be a good time, because you may go back with this change of heart trying to interact with these individuals, not knowing that these individuals may still be in that same spiritual space, may still be in that same spiritual spiritual frequency vibration, vibrating on as a spirit, as a soul, being able to, you know, thinking that things change, you got to change your heart, thinking that you're going to go back into that space and, you know, things is going to be better, things is going to be lighter, you're going to be able to feel open and express yourself because you've been going through the process of changes and changing yourself, thinking things is all peachy, sweet, and good, not knowing, you know, once you go back to that space, it may be, what I'm saying, exchanging ideas with these individuals, starting to plant seeds, starting back to plant seeds back into the area of life with these individuals, and then once this energy go back direct, they end up, you know, taking advantage of you. They end up, you know, being that same character. The veil is lifted over your eyes. The veil is lifted over your eyes, and they end up playing out the same traits and characteristics that what made you distance yourself from these individuals at first. So you got to keep that in mind whenever we're dealing with some retrograde energies. We're always going to be getting put back in that space of wanting to reconcile and reconnect with old and outdated individuals that may be no longer useful to our current circumstances and situations that we got going on for ourselves. So we got to make sure that we don't hop back into those trains of thoughts and lines of reasonings and producing and creating those outcomes for ourselves, and be able to save ourselves from actually manifesting those experiences by understanding that we're just experiencing some retrograde energy that's going to be taking place in the sky, and this is a profitable time if we're able to kind of look at this energy like going back to the esoteric drawing board and see where we can kind of improve, when it comes to the things that we are trying to utilize to boost our self-esteem and plant seeds in, and things of those natures, when it comes to, you know, how we be able to obtain and gain that comfortability in our lives and things of those natures. So that's how Taurus retrograde is going to be affecting all of us, but it's really going to be affecting all of us on a more global scale, because when it comes to our resources and our values in general, they're going to be utilizing this retrograde energy to kind of flare up, you know, our instabilities in some way, shape, or form. So don't get confused or lost into the sauce, especially when it comes to the things that they're presenting on the news, like these narratives and things of those natures. They may just be utilizing these things to steer society in a certain direction, and next thing you know, you got to vote, or next thing you know, your rights is getting taken away from you. So that's how they utilize these energies. So once your rights get taken away from you, now you got to go vote. Now you got to go to one of these, you know, I got to be careful what I'm saying, but now you got to go vote. Now you got to go to one of these places and go, you know, you don't know what's gonna happen once you go to one of these places. They may just use you for a psyop. So it gets crazy, because that's the type of mind states these individuals be in. So they shitty humans at the end of the day. Like they some shitty humans at the end of the day. But I don't want no smoke with them. I ain't got no problems. I'm here for everybody. I ain't got no problems with them. You know what I'm saying? They be the same. They might be the same people. They be the same people that you go to one of these convenience stores. You'll see them walk. They'll walk right past you. You wouldn't even know. But I ain't finna speak too much on these individuals. I love everybody. I'm here for everybody. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. But yeah, you just gotta keep in mind. Gotta keep gang though. You know, I'm just trying to. The people that fuck with me, the people that follow me, I gotta make sure they mind right at the end of the day, because you know I gotta make sure the people that's on the same path, the same frequency and spiritual travel as me, I gotta make sure that they mind right at the end of the day, so they won't end up being in one of these circumstances and situations where you walk into one of these convenience stores and one of these individuals come in that bitch with a goddamn big ass AR-15 or some shit like that, telling everybody goddamn get down to some shit, and next thing you know, everybody in that motherfucker dead. This motherfucker ain't even in jail or nothing, because they may use that motherfucking Mason or some shit as a motherfucking scapegoat. Say that nigga got mental illness or some shit like that, because they been watching us online talking about mental illnesses and spreading awareness on mental illnesses and shit like that. So you gotta peep game, because they be looking, they be watching, they be stealing everybody's talking point when it comes to people in the spiritual community, so they can have something to build a narrative on. So this is how they're kind of utilizing content creators online and on YouTube and things of those natures to kind of put us where we have to fight, where we're in the same fight. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to put everybody on one big ass Olympic arena, fighting for something that don't need to be fought for, because we, at the end of the day, we all can come together. We all can just chalk it up and just, you know, start giving people raises. You know what I'm saying? Start giving people raises and shit. Start building buildings and shit. Start building schools and shit. You know what I'm saying? Start putting us in some of these Masonic lodges and shit. Start building, you know, start building some lodges for us and shit. You know, it can be real simple. It can be real simple, real easy. It can be real simple. It can be real simple, real easy. These are those things. I'm sure my shadow had tripped me out in the back seat. But it can be real simple, real easy. You know what I'm saying? But I guess they just want to, you know, stay in a position of power, because you know their grandfathers, they still trying to uphold their grandfathers' theologies. So you know they still trying to be like their grandfathers and George Washington. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're still trying to be George Washington Juniors. George Washington, George Jefferson Juniors, and things of those natures, walking the land and stuff like that, so they can try to summon those spirits back, practicing necromancy, summon those spirits back, so they can have some, you know, how their bloodline, little lineage going on and things of those natures. So that's all they got going on. That's all they're trying to do at the end of the day. But yeah, I gotta start talking about them, because they already don't got me blocked. They don't like me talking about them on Instagram. So you know, I can kind of YouTube and talk all I want, but you know what I'm saying, I gotta get out those mind frames. Those trains of thoughts, because I put one piece together, I put one neuron together, another neuron together. Next thing you know, I'm going on a whole tangent about them. I can't stop talking about them. Next thing you know, my whole page deleted. Demonetized. My whole account deleted, demonetized. They don't got into my Gmail. They don't got into my TikTok. You know what I'm saying? That's how I get. They don't got into my TikTok, my Gmail. I can't even access my Gmail no more. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful, because these individuals, they're real smart with it, they're real tricky with it, because you know what I'm saying? This is just how this world is. You know what I'm saying? But you know, back into these energies, we also got Mars. We got Mars and Cancer. So Mars is falling in Cancer, so it's sleeping Cancer. So we may not feel like we got the passion right now, you know what I'm saying? We may not feel like we got that motivation, or we may not be in the mood to actually go for our passions, motivations, goals, and desires. And we may even start to procrastinate or self-doubt ourselves, self-doubt our passions, self-doubt the things that motivate us, and start to build insecurities around these things. You know what I'm saying? Because these things may, you know, we may not feel comfortable with going for these things right now, because we may not be receiving the validation or the recognition or the attention from our actual passions, motivations, goals, and desires, or we're not seeing these things being manifested in a timely fashion and things of those natures. So we may, you know, run away from these energies. We may kind of procrastinate or not just do these things, and we may need another individual there to kind of give us that internal courage to let us know that, hey, don't you got these good gifts and talents that you need to start expressing? Don't you got this good charisma? Don't you got this don't you know how to shoot a basketball real good? Ain't you good at drawing real good? You need to be doing that. You need to be, we may need another individual to kind of give us that motivation, so we can start to build up that courage to go for these things, because we're going to be sleep. We're all going to be sleep because this planet is falling. So, we got to make sure that we don't, become our own worst enemy when it comes to us not seeing our passions, motivations, goals, and desires being manifested in a timely fashion. So we got to make sure that we are actually presenting ourselves in some way, shape, or form, and going for these things. Even if we don't feel like it, even if we're not in the mood, it's all about progressing at the end of the day. Even if you got a drawing, if you're making music, you may not even want to finish that beat. You may not even want to start that beat. It's all about starting it. You ain't got to finish as long as you start it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you still get up and start making that music, writing down those lyrics, making that beat, you can always go back to it, as long as you got that back pockety energy and you building up that back pockety energy and things of those natures to start to put yourself in a comfortable position. So once this energy goes back, once this energy go into Leo and get out of this space and go into Leo, you'll have something that you can be able to participate with, that you can set the stage for, that you can express in some way, shape, or form, that you can start to receive that validation and attention for. But you got to make sure that you're not just letting things get swiped from. Not make sure that you're not just letting things making sure that you actually not just letting things just sit there and you just procrastinating and sitting on all your gems all day, you know what I'm saying? Because you may have like good gifts and talents, good gems and things, and make sure that you're not just sitting on your gems all day and representing these things, even if you're not getting the recognition or the validation, you know what I'm saying? But just understanding those energies, understanding that that's how our passions is going to be, with our passions is going to be getting filtered through, cardinal water, creating and initiating a new way to deal with emotions and feelings. And this also mean just dealing with individuals as well. We're going to be you may just go to a convenience store now with Mars being in Cancer, and the cashier got a mood or something, or you may just be at work and your associate got like this weird mood or animosity against you that you could just sense, that you could just pick up. Like you may not have even done nothing to this individual, but just your energy and your aura alone just rub these individuals the wrong way. So you got to keep that in mind as well when it comes to like you just being yourself and you understanding these energies. You may just be being yourself. You may not even be having nobody on your mind. You may not even be thinking about. You may not even be thinking about nobody else, but you may just rub an individual the wrong way, because they may just take it personal just because you came in work super early because you was in a good mood or something like that. You came in work super early in a good mood, you may just rub them the wrong way and they take it personal because Mars is in Cancer. So those are going to be the weird energies that we're all going to be experiencing. So those are going to be the energies that's going to be playing on our mind. So we got to make sure that we don't be participating with these low vibrational individuals and let them bring us down to their level. Now we having to compete, and we're acting out desires, acting out for the sake of a desire, or getting lost into desires and things of those natures. You know what I'm saying? Just don't let these individuals kind of redirect your mood, redirect your internal decision making, redirect your subconscious wiring, because they're not hip on astrology, they're not hip on the energies that's going on. They don't know how to create a spaceship themselves. They don't know how to create a mind themselves. You know what I'm saying? They being used as a vessel. So it's going to be a lot of that going on for these next 2 months. So always make sure that you got your crystals. If you like crystals, make sure that you do your meditation. Make sure that you do your mantras. Make sure that you clear your space, your esoteric heart space, and things of those natures before you go interact with the external world. So you'll be bringing spirits back, or collecting and accumulating and germinating parasitic spirits, clinging on to your energy and things of those natures, is lingering around your energy. Now you got these weird spirits around you all day. You go back home, you trying to hop back into your creative bag, but you got these weird spirits you don't pick it up from work, because these individuals that was around you was throwing unwanted energies your way and things of those natures. So that's why it's always good to wear some, get some crystals or some gems, things of those natures. Clear your space. Make sure that you got a good sufficient spaceship. Make sure that you got a good sufficient sword thought mentality. Make sure that you got a good sufficient shield emotion feeling, so that these individuals won't redirect your spaceship and make you go down a certain direction, and then you run into asteroids and things of those natures. So it's always a good thing to make sure that you got that good spiritual protection when it comes to just interacting with the world. And especially if you got some water in your chart, you know what I'm saying? If you got water in your chart, if you're like a Pisces or Cancer, if you got Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio somewhere, sun, moon, or ascendant, you already picking up on these energies. These energies been hit you. We ain't even in a degree yet. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even 3 degrees in yet. We still on that cusp, to be honest. So we still on that cusp between being confused between our emotions and our feelings right now, because we're still sharing those energies with Gemini. So we may be confused. We may wake up. We all may wake up on one side of the bed. One day we feel good. Next day we want to go to war, because that Gemini energy is still gonna be playing with our mind a little bit. But if you got water energy, you're already picking up on these energies. You know what I'm saying? Unwarranted energies is already being thrown your way. But don't get discouraged. You know, these are just energies we all got to endure for these next, 2 months until Mars get more lighter and go into Leo. Going to Leo, where things is going to be a little bit more about self-expression and our character, and being a little bit more passionate about your actual character and things of those natures. So, just making sure that you just stay aligned, and, making sure that you know what's going on in the sky and how these energies are playing out, and in synchronicities with what's going on below. Then you'll be able to ride these currents, and you'll be able to have a good sufficient spaceship, so you won't be running into asteroids and clashing into other people's minds and mentalities and things of those natures. But yeah, I think those are all the energies I wanted to talk about today. It's been Hooked Out 360. Hope I enjoyed this video. Peace.